Hello again guys, it's Carly from the Poetry of Nice, and today I'm going to talk to y'all about some things that I actually really hate about reselling online. If you're new to this channel, welcome. This is a channel all about reselling online, and I sell on Poshmark, Etsy and eBay, and I do that while being a stay-at-home parent, so this is my part-time job, and I like to share my journey, my tips, my tricks, my hauls, my sales, all that kind of good stuff here on YouTube to help others and just to kind of be part of the reselling community. If that sounds interesting to you, please do think about hitting that subscribe button down below, and don't forget to say hello in the comments so that I can say hi back. So usually in my videos, I am super upbeat and very positive, and I don't have much negative to say, usually. And this isn't really going to be a Debbie Downer negative video, I'm going to let you know that right now, but I figured this would be a fun time to just kind of have like a real talk, if you will. For all the wonderful pros that I believe that there are for reselling online, the fact that I can do it while being home and raising my kids, the fact that it's helped my husband and I to get out of debt, all kinds of cool stuff that go along with being a reseller. There are also some things that kind of aren't so fun as well. So I figured for today, it might be kind of fun just to have a chat about some of the things that just are not that fun about being a reseller. And I would love to invite you guys as well to pop down into the comments and let me know some things that maybe you don't enjoy about being a reseller, and perhaps you found a way to solve it or to make it easier on yourself. That would be super valuable to share with the community, I know, and I would love to hear it. Okay, my number one least favorite thing is finding flaws after I've purchased an item, or, God forbid, when I go to ship an item that has just sold. Honestly, one of the worst feelings in the world. Not so much after purchase, although I really hate the feeling of waste. I'm a very frugal person, hence the thrifting. And I don't much like to find a flaw, especially one that I cannot fix after I purchase, because some items can be sold flawed, obviously if they're a good brand and things like that, although their value goes way down usually when that happens. But also that just means more work for me overall, or a complete loss. When it comes to a damaged item that I have just realized that there's something wrong with it as I'm packaging it up to send it off to a buyer, that really is a terrible feeling. And then it's left to us as sellers to reach out to the buyer and try and find a resolution, and hopefully not get any kind of defects and things like that on eBay. I'm not so bothered when it comes to Etsy and Poshmark, although that's terrible customer service, obviously, to cancel a sale. But when it comes to eBay, it does kind of get to me a little bit more, because potentially that's a mark against you on your account, and it can be a little bit stressful. That being said, it does happen to us all. It's just kind of part of the job description, and all we can really do is put a good quality control system in place and hopefully avoid it happening again in the future. All right, number two is laundry and stains. If you are primarily a clothing reseller like I am, you will probably know the feeling of being snowed under by laundry. Now, I don't wash everything that I sell. I only wash it really if it needs it, honestly. I would expect my customer to wash a pre-owned item before they wore it. I would do that if I was buying online, and as long as there is like no odors, there's no stains, nothing like that, I'm gonna sell the item pretty much as is. Otherwise, quite frankly, I would literally never stop washing. Having said that, when you get something home, and like I mentioned before, there is a flaw, it ends up going into a laundry pile with stain remover and all kinds of tips and tricks that I find online to try and get out stubborn stains and all the good stuff, and I end up with a pile that's sitting with the stain remover on like the 24 hours waiting to go into the laundry, and then I have an item, things that are in the laundry and the things in the dryer, and then they need ironing or whatever the heck needs doing to them, and it's just an ongoing process, and that is something that I don't super love about reselling, I'll be honest. Kind of going along with that as well is my to mend piles. I think that everybody, for the most part, would have a like to fix or to mend or to clean pile, whatever it is, whether it's a pair of shoes that need wiped down and need some shoe polish, or it's an item that needs like testing with batteries, for instance, or it's an item that needs a button sewn on, whatever it is. I think most of us have a to fix, to mend pile, and I think a lot of us, not everybody, some of you out there are really organized, and I commend you for that. A lot of us, however, do end up letting that to mend pile grow, and it ends up in a place, at least for me, where I either lose a couple of hours of my life sitting down and trying to fix all of those things at once, or they end up going in the donate pile anyway because I never got around to it. Procrastination won, and I decided it was better off to just get them out of my life and move forward. This is reality. I'm telling you, this is what it's like for me. Next thing I'm going to talk about is the fact that as a reseller online, on these online platforms where you have the apps on your phone and things like that, for me, I literally never switch off. To an unhealthy point, if I'm being really honest. When I get up in the middle of the night, if one of my kids wakes up and needs some help or needs a drink of water, I check my phone and I respond to offers, or I send out offers, or whatever it is that could be done in that moment to do with my business, I will do it at 3 a.m. it's not really good. As a work-at-home mother, the balance between work and home is not an easy one to find. I would not in any way say that I've found it or nailed it by this point, even though I'm about 4 years in. As my kids grow and stages change and things, they have different needs and everything shifts and we have to start all over again trying to figure it out. But I am very, very grateful, of course, that I'm able to be home with my kids and run my business at the same time. It's just that oftentimes I would say that I feel, you know, torn in two, like I said, and that can be a little bit mentally taxing over time. Next is the hustle mentality. I'm gonna call this out for a second. So I think that, you know, if you're on Instagram and part of the reseller community and stuff, it is a valuable thing to have so much exposure to the hustle mentality, the work hard, you know, you only get out by what you put in style thought process. And I think that that's wonderful. That is absolutely how you win for the most part of life, is you have some grit, you get up and you do it when you don't want to do it, and you know, over time with some patience and some persistence, you see the fruits of your labor. That's how it should work in life, and for the most part with the reseller business, in my experience, that is how it works. You work hard and you get more sales. It's pretty much a balance there, give or take. However, it's another thing that can be a little bit damaging sometimes. It kind of ties into that never switch off, right? Like there has to be a healthy balance between the hustle, go thought process of being an entrepreneur and trying to, you know, up sales and grow and all this kind of stuff, and then sharing it all on social media. And also, it's okay to just sit still sometimes. Like I have to tell myself this. It's okay to do nothing. It's okay to relax with a cup of coffee and scroll through, you know, flip open a book or scroll through social media in a mind-numbing way. Like that is okay. I have a hard time with that. I'll be really honest. I feel like there's like wasted minutes, wasted hours, all that kind of stuff. I mean, I get up at 6 o'clock in the morning and I start working pretty darn soon after that. And granted, I work on and off throughout the day because I'm also balancing it with like what my kids need and, you know, household stuff and whatever else. But it's throughout the day is how I work consistently, just stopping here and there to do what needs to be done around the house. And then in the evenings when they're in bed, I usually work till about 9 o'clock. And that is not sustainable over time. I'm just going to tell you. I find myself irritable. I find myself so tired, not just physically, but mentally as well. So that hustle mentality really needs to be utilized in a way that works for us in a time period that is like pre-decided, I think sometimes. And then when a switch off point comes, it needs to be okay not to work. Just my opinion. Next one is abusive buyers. Definitely one of the worst parts of the job. Hands down, abusive buyers, like when you start getting messages from people, whether they are buyers who are abusing the system, because that absolutely happens, trying to get something for nothing, trying to say that you did something wrong if you didn't do, you know, it happens. Sometimes we do things wrong and it's good to hold our hands up and be an honest seller, bear that in mind, but sometimes we don't have honest buyers. It's just the back and forth of selling online and generally being a customer service. And then sometimes we get those buyers that are actually abusive to us, you know, curse words, nasty things. And those can stay with us and they can, you know, bother us for a long time. At least for me, I have thinner skin. It can bother me and I can kind of find myself in the middle of the night grinding my teeth over it, thinking, what did I do wrong? It's not fair. And over time, I'm learning to let go of that more, but I need to train myself to let go of it even earlier in the process. I have started, when it comes to cases and things like that, to not sort of be as stubborn, if you like, as I was, and not as just. That's not because I am trying to just bend over backwards for anybody who says that I did something wrong or whatever. I'm not trying to avoid confrontation, I suppose is what I'm trying to say. I'm trying to live a happy life. So if they do something really wrong or they're really taking advantage, of course I will stand up and call them out. But if it's going to be over like $2 or $3 and I don't think I'm going to win either way, I'm not going to charge forward like guns blazing or whatever, trying to win a case just for the sake of it being the right thing. I'm gonna do what's gonna let me sleep better at night. That is a personal choice. You may judge, and that's okay. Feel free to let me know in the comments if you judge. You know, it's a discussion at the end of the day. We are part of a community and we all do things differently, and it's good that we can all do things our own way. I know some people who do it like I do. I know some people who really feel that standing up for that greater good when it comes to this online business is really important. And again, I do commend that. I think that's wonderful as well. I probably will swing back and forth over time depending on what the situation is. But as of right now, I'm just trying to keep life simple. And at the end of the day with customer service, you're always going to have grouchy people, and most of the time you're going to end up trying to do the whole customer is right situation in order to grow your business. All right, and the last one I'm going to mention is unfair cases and unfair resolutions. So I kind of touched on the unfair cases with the abusive buyers thing that I just talked about, but the unfair resolutions, the hard fact is that sometimes a case is going to be awarded to a buyer when you did nothing wrong, and maybe they even told a lie, and they're going to win, and you're not going to have a leg to stand on, and it's going to be kind of sad. When that happens, it's so natural to, you know, mull it over and to feel so hard done by. It's an injustice, it's not fair. We could take to social media and share that buyer's details if we wanted to. We could share all of the ins and outs of the situation. I share some of those things when I'm asking for advice on Instagram and Facebook sometimes, and I find that really, really useful because I have dealt with cases differently, having heard from other people who've been in similar situations, other sellers. So it's definitely a valuable resource. But just, I would sort of say, bear in mind that when you're doing that, make sure that you're seeking advice or a resolution, perhaps, rather than, you know, it's okay to vent. It is okay to vent. It's your social media account. You can do whatever you want at the end of the day. But I think maybe just like in terms of how we grow and how we are able to deal with these situations moving forward, asking for advice from other people and actually listening to it could really be beneficial when using social media. I have definitely had some cases closed on me where I just thought, that is so unfair. How could that have happened? I have all the evidence, like it's just, it doesn't add up. And at the end of the day, sometimes it just happens. Some would say cost of doing business. I mean, that's just part of life. So that's one of my least favorite things as well. I will say that. And that about sums it up, really. Those are the few things, actually quite a few, looking back, who would have thought, that I don't really enjoy about reselling online. Now, overall, do I love my job and would I recommend it to anybody interested to give it a go? 100%, absolutely. If you have any questions, if you're new here, please feel free to say hello down in the comments. We're a very friendly bunch, and I'm always happy to help whenever I can, especially with newbies. But are there some sides to it? Like any job in the entire world that is not so fun? Yes, absolutely. Real talk, that's how it goes. Thank you guys so much for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please do give it a thumbs up. If you're new here, I would love it if you would hit subscribe and come back and check out some more videos and say hello in the comments so we can get to know each other. And I will catch you all in the next video. Bye, you guys.